For decades, Britain sold the world a simple idea. That London was where money wanted to live. That British wealth didn't run, it ruled. But today, something deeply unsettling is happening. Quietly, methodically, almost politely. Britain's wealth is leaving. Not fleeing war. Not escaping dictatorship. Not collapsing overnight. Instead, the UK is experiencing something far more dangerous. A voluntary exodus of its own elite. And the destination isn't Dubai. It isn't Switzerland. It isn't even the United States. It's Portugal. A country once dismissed by British investors as a holiday spot, now becoming a financial refuge. Here's the mystery. Why would wealthy Britons, bankers, entrepreneurs, retirees, tech founders, even hedge fund managers, abandon one of the world's largest financial hubs? For a country with a smaller economy, lower global influence, and fewer multinational giants? This isn't a lifestyle trend. This isn't about sunshine. This is about systems breaking, incentives shifting, and history repeating itself. And once you see the pattern, you'll realize this story isn't just about Britain. It's about what happens right before economic power changes hands. To understand why wealth is leaving Britain, we first need to understand why it stayed for so long. For most of the 20th century, the UK perfected something rare. A country that combined strong legal protections, deep capital markets, global influence, and elite financial infrastructure. London wasn't just a city, it was a system. British courts were trusted globally. British contracts were enforceable. British banks connected Europe, America, Africa, and Asia. Even after the British Empire collapsed, the financial empire survived. The City of London became the world's unofficial clearinghouse. Money flowed through Britain not because it loved the weather, but because it trusted the rules. And then came the European Union. EU membership amplified Britain's power. London became the financial gateway to Europe, offering passporting rights, talent mobility, regulatory stability, and frictionless capital flows. For wealthy Britons, this meant something crucial. You could live in the UK, earn globally, and optimize internationally. That balance is what kept wealth anchored. Until it wasn't. Brexit was sold as freedom. Freedom from Brussels. Freedom from regulation. Freedom to take back control. But here's what was not discussed openly. Capital hates uncertainty more than taxes. Brexit didn't immediately raise taxes. It didn't collapse markets overnight. It didn't cause mass unemployment instantly. Instead, it introduced something far more corrosive. Permanent ambiguity. No one knew what future trade rules would look like, how financial passporting would be replaced, whether regulations would diverge or converge, or how long instability would last. For ordinary voters, Brexit was political. For wealth, Brexit was a risk calculation. And wealth always moves before the consequences are visible. Portugal didn't chase British wealth aggressively. It positioned itself quietly. After the 2008 financial crisis, Portugal learned a painful lesson. A small economy cannot afford to scare capital. So instead of punishing wealth, it redesigned incentives. Then came three game-changing policies. 1. The non-habitual resident (NHR) regime. Portugal offered something radical. Foreign income taxed at 0 to 10%. Pensions taxed lightly or not at all. Capital gains exemptions in many cases. A clear 10-year window of certainty. To wealthy Britons facing rising UK tax burdens. Frozen income tax thresholds. Capital gains hikes. Inheritance tax exposure. Portugal looked less like a holiday destination, and more like an escape hatch. 2. Golden visas and residency stability. Portugal made residency predictable. Not perfect, not permanent overnight, but clear. Unlike the UK's shifting immigration rules, Portugal offered transparent paths, minimal political drama, a sense of long-term welcome. 3. Lifestyle as a secondary incentive. The sun was a bonus. Healthcare was a bonus. Cost of living was a bonus. But those weren't the drivers. Certainty was the driver. Then came the compounding pressures. One by one, Britain's historical advantages began to erode. Tax pressure without growth. Income tax thresholds frozen. Capital gains allowances slashed. Dividend allowances reduced. Inheritance tax untouched but increasingly unavoidable. Britain wasn't becoming more productive. It was becoming more extractive. Regulatory drift. Financial firms lost EU passporting. Professional mobility tightened. Visa systems became costlier and slower. For globally mobile individuals, the UK no longer felt agile. Political volatility. Short-lived governments. Policy reversals. Budget shocks. To voters, this was democracy in action. To wealth, it was noise. And money hates noise. This isn't just retirees. It's mid-career professionals. Founders selling companies. Finance executives. Crypto entrepreneurs. Remote workers earning globally. And here's the dangerous part. They're not leaving loudly. They're leaving efficiently. They sell assets. Shift residency. Restructure holdings. Move families. No protests. No headlines. Just tax base erosion. This is how countries lose power quietly. Not through collapse, but through slow capital bleed. The UK response has been fragmented. Tougher rules on non-dom status. No meaningful tax simplification. No long-term post-Brexit certainty framework. Politically, offering tax relief to the wealthy is unpopular. Economically, losing them is devastating. This is the trap. Once wealth leaves, it rarely returns. Not unless the system becomes predictable, competitive, and welcoming again. So far, Britain offers none of the three convincingly. This has happened before. In the 1970s, Britain faced capital controls, high taxation, brain drains. The wealthy fled to Switzerland, Monaco, and the US. Only Thatcher-era reforms reversed it. Portugal today resembles Ireland in the 1990s, Singapore in the 2000s, Dubai in the 2010s. Not perfect, but strategically open. The pattern is always the same. When large economies tax stability away, smaller ones absorb the consequences. The three takeaways. 1. Wealth moves before crisis is obvious. By the time headlines notice, it's already too late. 2. Tax is less important than trust. People will pay taxes if the rules feel stable. 3. Post-Brexit Britain faces a choice. Compete for capital, or slowly lose it. The open question is this. Can Britain rebuild certainty without political backlash? Or will Portugal's quiet victory become a template for the next wave of global wealth migration? Because history suggests one thing. Money always votes first. If you want more deep dive stories uncovering the hidden financial forces shaping our world, subscribe to World Financial Mysteries. Like this video if you made it to the end. And comment below. Is this a smart move by British investors? Or a warning sign Britain can't ignore?